I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about, did I push her to do this? Well, have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you pushed somebody into doing something that maybe they wouldn't have done? A lot of times we do that. When we're feeling impulsive and we're anxious about something and we want an answer, a lot of times the only thing that we do is push for the answer that we weren't hoping for. And that if we had handled it with a little bit more patience or tact, you probably would not have had that outcome, or it would have been less likely for that outcome to happen. So you have to learn to be more patient in life. I have found that life often gives us what we need, and sometimes we just refuse to accept it, refuse to accept what it has given us, and we become very unhappy. We get miserable because we're wanting it to be one way and it's different than that, and that's when we have suffering, when we want things to be different than the way that they are. And so, you know, oftentimes something may not be going the way we want or at the speed that we want, and we get really impulsive and demanding, and it just winds up backfiring for us and making the situation a lot worse. So I have found that patience really is an incredible virtue, because we're no longer impulsive and trying to force things when they're not ready to happen. And one of the things that you'll find in your situation if you're going through a breakup is that you want that person back now. Well, that might not be the best thing for you. And like I said, I really believe life often gives us what we need. And so when we learn the lessons that we've needed to learn, a lot of times things just become so much easier in that area for us. And so you're going to see that if you allow things to happen as they need, you're going to be much happier, and you're going to learn those lessons. And so I've got two really good emails today. The first one is a success story, and it was somebody that, you know, I'm always trying to get you a success story, guys. Believe me, I am putting out as much content and as much education and information as I can to help you guys have success stories. Now, that does not always mean getting an ex back, obviously. That's just simply impossible. But and not always the best thing for you, too, may I add. Sometimes you will find that that person really wasn't good for you, and maybe they were a toxic person in your life, and that you are going to find somebody so much better for you. Okay? So, success isn't necessarily getting the ex back, but finding inner peace, happiness, and learning to have much healthier relationships, I'd say that's a success story as well, right? But this first story is from a guy who has been watching the channel, obviously, for a long time, and he's starting to find some success, and he wanted to share it. And I know you guys love to hear it. So, and there's going to be a few things in this story that are going to reiterate what I'm constantly trying to help you understand, okay? So let me go ahead and get to this story. And he said, "Hey, Craig, first off, let me start by saying thank you for all your helpful videos. They're really comforting, regardless of the situation that a person may be up against. To begin with, I had a terrible breakup with my girlfriend of 3 years that I worked in the same place with in October of last year." That's when the breakup was. "She said we were incompatible, and I wasn't the kind of guy she wanted to spend her life with. Now, this is what I'm talking about with success, okay? Had that relationship continued any longer the way it was going, it may have been done for good. But it ended, and now he's been able to regroup, and let's see how this plays out, okay? I was completely confused because we just had minor arguments. Okay, so he's completely confused. At the time, he probably wasn't aware of all of these things that I teach. He was probably so disconnected from her, not understanding her love language or her attachment style or his attachment style or how to communicate effectively, all of those things. He was completely unaware of why this girl was even unhappy with him. Anyway, post the breakup, I did everything that I wasn't supposed to do to try and get her back, due to the fact that I didn't have much knowledge with dealing with breakups. She was indifferent to how I felt and didn't seem to care. To highlight some of the bad things I did was take advice from female friends on how to get her back, gestures, and talking about the relationship. Everything failed miserably. At one time, she even said to me, "I need to move on. She doesn't love me anymore. She's gonna date other people, and here we go, she will never come back." Remember what I teach, guys and gals. People's feelings change like the clouds that move across the sky, and they often do revisit the idea of getting back with somebody. She said at that moment she truly believed, "I will never get back with you." She did believe it in that moment. I'm not saying it wasn't true for her, because at one point in time it was true. But does it always stay true? Not likely, okay? Even if I just tried to speak to her on friendly terms, she was cold and distant. I was devastated. After wallowing in my sorrows for a couple of weeks, I stumbled upon your videos and said to myself, why not try what this guy's saying, because it can't possibly get any worse. And he said, LOL. Been there, man. First things I did was begin to work on myself and initiate no contact. No reaching out, right, for his situation. I took a vacation from work, started to read books frequently, go hiking, out with friends, go to the gym, lost 30 pounds, and got back into shape. Also reflecting on if this girl and I really want to spend time with each other in our life. The holiday passed by, and I stuck to the plan and didn't initiate any sort of contact, although she contacted me on 2 separate occasions using the indirect direct approach while I was still on vacation. Both occasions I kept the conversations very short and polite due to the fact I wasn't 100% emotionally ready. Finally, I went back to work and continued with no contact. Within 3 weeks of being at work, she has been reaching out continuously. Only difference this time, I was emotionally ready to have a polite, friendly, and professional conversation. Whenever she texted me, I took a few hours to respond. If we spoke at work, I was friendly and I smiled and didn't speak about anything relating to our past relationship. One day, I took a while to reply to her messages, and she replied with another message asking, "Why are you ignoring me?" That's when I realized her anxiety was kicking in. Last week, she saw me at work and reached out to me, but I was busy, and I told her I can't stop to speak right now. 1 hour later, she called and said she really needed to speak with me. So I decided to meet her and hear her out. She began to speak about everything that happened during the breakup, saying she was sorry about the way she treated me. She didn't take the time to understand me in the relationship. She didn't handle the breakup maturely. Her decision was extremely selfish because she was taking bad advice from her friends and not thinking on her own. Would you look at that? She also said she misses our wonderful conversations and said I'm a wonderful guy. She even cried while continuing, saying she made me believe everything was my fault that led to the breakup when we were both at fault, as she played a part of it in it as well. During the conversation, she even slipped in the question, "Are you seeing anyone?" To which I replied, "Now and then, but I'm focusing on my upcoming business and personal development. So, to me, it's basically just dating for now." Since that, I've been taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back, allowing her to come to me, as well as following your guidance on reattraction, and I must say, things are going well, very well. Okay, so I wouldn't take 1 step forward, 2 steps back, because that's not going to get you anywhere. I think you meant to say 2 steps forward and 1 step back. If you do 1 and 2, you're going to be going that way. Although we're not officially in a relationship just yet, I just want to share my success story with everyone that might be going through a tough time during their breakup. Everything heals with time, and all you need is to have patience. Once again, thank you, Craig, for all your guidance and support. People like you make the world a better place. Well, that is incredible how he has transformed himself and really grown through all of this. Now, of course, it looks like they might get back together with this ex, or they might start dating again, but regardless of what happens with her, he's doing great. He's literally done just about every area of his life he can transform, and now he's focused on his business and getting that going. So good for him. That's a great success story, and I'm happy to hear that he's doing so much better. Okay, so the second email that I have for you guys is about a guy that's in his mid-20s, and he dated a woman a few years younger for about 2 years. Now, he said she rented a room, and that a lot of times he would stay with her. And he was telling me a little about her family life, and said that her and her dad didn't have great communication or a good relationship, but I felt like I helped mend that relationship together. She broke up with me because she felt like she didn't like the person she had became. She wanted to fix herself. She wanted space to see if we were meant to be. She had lost her independence. Okay, so she's obviously not happy about how things are going, and she's saying, well, I want to fix myself, but I think that she's probably not too happy with this relationship, right? He said he begged, cried, pleaded, and mailed things to her house. He said we were bickering here and there for the past 6 months. She felt I would get jealous, but didn't show it. She didn't like the person she became. Okay, first off, a little more background. I was the first guy to meet her family. She didn't have much friends, and she's close to her family. I'm her first real relationship, and the 3rd guy she dated. Kicked off well. We found out that we had mutual friends. I was able to help her to be more adventurous as I took her to different cities and different road trips. Like I said, the family liked me and always wanted me around. Her little brother liked hanging out with us. We were making friends and hanging out with her family a lot, and they called me by a nickname, so I felt loved. She started this new job a few months ago, and that had more hours and worked weekends sometimes. Okay, so you know that had a big impact. Something's going on there, right? It was a hard adjustment, but we made it work. You were trying to make it work. During that time, she broke up with me a couple of times for like an hour, and then she came back. Wait a minute. She broke up with you several times? It doesn't sound like it was working to me. So obviously, you know, even though she's coming back right away, she's really been thinking about it. Because there's several breakups going on here. Our most recent breakup through text was because she wanted space to fix herself and she wasn't happy with herself. They sound like excuses to me. A week after the breakup, I asked her cousin and he didn't know about our breakup. I asked her friend and she told her that she wanted some time to herself. She told her mom that I was jealous sometimes, and her mother said I reminded her of her dad. Controlling, but also with a loving attitude. What do I tell you guys all the time? We're attracted to the familiar. He acts like her dad. Okay, so that's why she's so drawn to him. A couple of days after no contact, I got a random text saying, "I love you, good night." I replied, "I love you, good night." Next day, a package I ordered for her arrived. She texted me thanks for the gift, and I prolonged the conversation, and I felt she got mad again, and she pushed me away. Okay, so, like I said at the beginning of the video, he was trying to force things, right? Things weren't going at his speed, the way he wanted them to go, so he's trying to force her into doing things, stay on the phone with him when she's not wanting to, or she was happy at first, but then he kept forcing her. It made her feel frustrated, and that feeling came up, and she's like, ugh, right? And she got mad. Alright. I sent emails, calls, and texts off and on for another week. She said I scared her with my actions, like the begging. Wow, see? I told you he was really forcing it here. 4 days after, she told me she loved me and said it's over and it'll never be fixed and she'll never be back. Well, that's how she's feeling right now. But just like the previous email, just because she was feeling that way now doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. People's feelings do change. He says, did I push her to say that? Well, the fact that you're asking yourself that is probably a good indication that you did. And you know you did. And unconsciously you know that you did, because she was happy to hear from you at first, but you wore out your welcome. She felt trapped again. She felt overwhelmed. The attraction was gone. And then she got mad at you because she's like, oh, he doesn't get it. And so, yeah, I think that you did probably push her to do that. And I think there was probably a lot more going on in that conversation, because you even realized you prolonged it. You were trying to keep her on the line with you to the point where she was feeling uncomfortable and awkward, right? And then afterwards, emailing, calling, texting, and you scared her. She even said it. You scared her. The next week, I kept trying, right? And she said the same thing. I finally gave a week of no contact and sent 2 emails on different days saying I regret my actions and that I'm trying to move on and I feel like I can bring something new to our relationship, and no response. Again, you're trying to force things. Calling, texting. Now you think apologizing is going to do it. But, you know, repeated apologizings. I could see you'll be doing the handwritten letter next. Oh, man. Alright, so she hasn't replied in over 2 weeks and blocked me on everything. Yeah, I would say you definitely forced her to do that. I went on a date a few weeks after she said she never wants us again. Her cousin, the couple of friends follow me as I post a picture on Snapchat date night of a movie theater. The date will lead nowhere because as I'm not ready for a relationship. I'm so devastated and hurt because she cut me out of her life. I love this girl and I was always there for her. I'm trying to focus on my mountain biking, but I think about her all the time. What should I do? Should I give up? Well, you definitely do not reach out to this girl ever again. I mean, she had, first of all, you did it to death. I mean, emailing, calling, stop, you know, who knows, you were probably driving past her house at this point. Your anxiety was so bad. And not only that, but she blocked you on everything. What does that tell you? She doesn't want to hear from you right now. And you scared her. And your behavior is scary because you're not understanding her or respecting her and what she wants, right? You're trying to force your will onto her. And you can't do that to somebody. It's going to kill attraction really quick. So you're going to have to focus on yourself, and I'd be spending a lot more time on yourself than mountain biking, okay? Mountain biking may be good exercise and good to get your mind off things, but how is that going to correct anything in the future? You obviously have massive amounts of anxiety and you don't know how to handle it. And so it's affecting your relationships. You better figure out how to get a hold of yourself, how to be a better partner, how to communicate better, how to listen better, what her love language is, all of the things that I teach, if you're going to have any kind of shot. Because I don't hear a lot of self-reflection in this email. I don't hear a lot of, I realized I did this, or I realized, other than really taking responsibility for the over pursuing and the calling and the stalker-like behavior, but I don't hear a lot of understanding of what really is going on in this relationship yet. So it tells me you're probably not working as hard as you should be if you really want to get this girl back. And if I was you, I'd be signing up for a Skype real quick because, you know, is it too late with this girl? Should you give up? I mean, you shouldn't reach out, but that doesn't mean that she won't come back around again. Even though she's blocked you on everything, if she has time to miss you, she could reach out. But I don't think you're anywhere near ready to work things out at this point. And so I think maybe if we talked about this and I can understand better what's going on in your life, I can help you get ready for that. But, you know, obviously you're taking the first step and realizing that there is a problem and you are taking some responsibility for yourself, so that's great. But I feel like you're not working as hard as a lot of people that are on this channel and do watch these videos. But, you know, maybe you're new to the channel, and I really encourage you to keep continuing. And, you know, I wouldn't focus on dating right now. You're looking to soothe your anxiety. You're jumping into something else because you're trying to make her jealous, which that's going to backfire acting like this. And so I don't think you're really doing anything here that is going to help keep this woman if she comes back again. And what's worse is that I don't feel like you're doing enough to change yourself and make these long-lasting changes for the next girl, and you'll wind up with another broken heart, and you don't want to do that. This is the time to focus on yourself and internalize all these changes that I am trying to help you, understand and that I share with you. So I really would do a Skype with me, and let's talk about these things and get you straightened out here, okay? So, if you want to get my help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching, I do Skype coaching, and if you got to get with me right away, I do offer emergency Skype coaching. I also get Skype coaching with Margaret now. All you got to do is when you go on AskCraig.net at the top, where it says Margaret, click on it, and you can sign up for a Skype with her there. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.